I was watching a video today that made me think about cash cow channels. Cash cow channels are channels that are made pretty much with the sole intention of making money. You don't really care about the content that's on there. You don't really care about uh what you're doing. You're trying to say, you know what, we can make videos and we can follow things that work. And I don't know if cash cow is necessarily like a course at one point in time or not, but I know that that's what I've always heard people saying, and I've heard it in enough of different contexts where I'm like, all right, it's got to be kind of like a genre, and much the way rock and roll's a genre, that there's like a genre of cash cow channels where people are making videos with, just the intention to make money, but they're not really caring about whether or not they're good. And so this kind of idea goes back. And it's real easy to see it if you were to just replace the concept of cash cow videos with how to make money with a faceless YouTube channel. Now, I know that there's a lot of YouTube channels that I've seen where it's like, man, there's no soul in what the content is you're making. You're not really making things you're interested in. You're really making things with the idea to put out a branding. It's kind of easier to see with things like Mr. Beast, where a lot of his videos are videos that were kind of made or crafted with the sole idea that you can make money off of them. And if you make money off of these videos, you can make more videos. So that's pretty much the whole concept of cash cow channels. And it's kind of the same concept in a lot of marketing that I've seen for faceless channels where it's like, hey, I'll sell you a program. Here's how to make, millions off of YouTube. And you see the same thing with these channels where it's like, all right, that's what it used to be. It used to be the idea was pretty much you're going to a cheap third party vendor, and that vendor is someone that can get something done quickly. And you see a lot of it with like there's different websites for essentially freelance work, and you're essentially hiring a bunch of freelancers to help you make videos, and then you're hands off kind of, and you just give input to each of the freelancers that you deal with. So obviously you have, well, I shouldn't say obviously, because you have a script writer, you have an editor, and you have a you're gonna probably need a guy for voiceover or camera work. And so, depending on the situation, you have essentially somebody in front of camera. You've got two, and depending on the situation, you've got a manager there, right? And the manager technically could be any of those three. Like, say you're somebody that, well, you've seen this with YouTube channels that get successful where somebody may have started off making the YouTube videos and they're doing everything. And then when they get a little bit more successful, they may say, you know what, I really like filming the videos, but I'm not really a fan of editing. Or I don't mind the editing and the script writing, so maybe I can, have somebody else do the on camera presentation. There's a couple different variations of that. A lot of the successful creators that got famous on their face pretty much, what they'll do is they'll stick to the on camera parts and they'll outsource the off camera parts, like, script writing and editing. And then you've still got your YouTube channel, but you may have freed up a little bit of time that you would have spent working on the channel, but you're still, managing, because you got to make sure that what you're putting out is in line with the other videos, and you still have to manage that stuff. It's not like you're free just making money easily. It's kind of like you're still kind of managing it. That being said, while you are managing it, technically, I guess you could set your own schedule and, timelines for things, but that's not what a lot of these channels seem to be selling. They're selling mostly, or courses, they're selling mostly the idea that you can get rich making faceless ads. Kind of one of those things with like YouTube channels in general. It's an easy thing to look at somebody and say, hey, they're making YouTube channels or YouTube videos that aren't really outside of my realm of work. Where, there's a lot of people out there that can make great videos. And it's really easy to see somebody that happens to just have had one that, kind of hit the algorithm right, or maybe they hit the time right with it. Just, what happened to be going in the news. How many people put out a video and then a week later something kind of related to that video becomes breaking news, and you've got a video that's going to suddenly become really popular because there's a lot of interest in it. And so I guess there's like a certain level of that. And it's one of those things too with like a lot of that. It's easy to like almost get into a mindset that you're gambling, because you're like, oh man, the next video might be it, where a lot of people say, oh, the problem with gamblers is a lot of them can't stop. And I think with some people, it's kind of the same with making videos. You're like, oh man, I'm making videos. Maybe the next one will be the one that strikes it big, I also think that it's easy sometimes to write off, like harder to quantify traits, because there's a lot of like hard measures that you can do on somebody's video. Like you can say, oh, they always put out videos that are 11 and a half minutes long. They always put out videos that have this many cuts in them, and they always have this. And so you can say, all right, I'm going to try to emulate a certain creator that does all that. And you make something that on paper, if you were to go off of like soft or hard things, where it's like, all right, we have the same transitions and we have the same flow through, it's real easy to forget that, there's a certain degree of like personality just inherently in making something like a video, because it's like, how do you cut something? How do you blend something? How do you transition between topics? These are things that are kind of personal, and yeah, they can be emulated, but they're not easy to emulate quickly. Another thing that I really didn't count on, or I discounted too much, was when I was making videos or just trying to start, acquiring things to start a YouTube channel is not hard for the most part, because it's really easy to say, oh, you can do everything with your phone and you've already got a smartphone, or you can, sometimes there's other ways where you might, through school or a friend, they might have a lot of great video equipment to use, where you're like, all right, this is great stuff to make a video with or to make some videos with. But even if you do get to use that stuff, it still doesn't factor in that like personality or like that it factor, the factor of there's something that's different, maybe you can figure out what it is. And, that's one of those things that I think really gets discounted sometimes when I see videos get put out. There's some people that you can see where they were going with stuff, but they can't seem to translate it through the video format as well as they'd like. And some of that's not like just because you can't do it in the moment, you can't do it eventually, but some of it is. And it's not that it matters, it's that you might have a personality that attracts certain things, and to change that, you're going to have to change your personality. But if you change your personality, you may find yourself becoming a person you don't like as much as you used to. And I don't think that that's really something that should be, emulated. But some people, they change little factors of themselves and they've kind of become the more likable person because, they found their shortfallings and all the little quirks they had and they polished down the ones that were a little bit more grating and they let the ones that people like shine through a little bit. And I think that that's something that you can really do with YouTube videos, but I think that it's really easy to talk in theory. In practice, it's a little bit harder because you sometimes forget that things are dynamic. And, making videos, if you're going to say, oh, I'm going to make videos week to week, things change week to week and, your topics or what you're interested in. And saying, oh, just create a YouTube channel based on niche topics and, niche down and it'll help you grow. Yeah, that might help you grow, but will it help you enjoy the process of making videos? Sometimes though too is like you can also make videos just with the intention, because I know I do a lot of videos on my like personal time that's like I'm making these videos, but I'm making these videos kind of trying to figure out what tools that I have. And with this particular channel or the videos that I'm uploading currently, I'm trying to see how far I can go with editing on my phone and make something that I can still watch back. And that's kind of been the journey for me. And I think that, that's not a journey where it's like my target is to hit 100,000 or anything. It's kind of like, all right, my target is figure out if I can make videos using just my phone that I can find reasonable, or watchable enough. Because I know there's a couple videos where I was trying to make them on my phone and I just could not, even 4 years ago, I could not get the quality of the video to where I felt comfortable sharing that with anybody. And I couldn't really figure out how to edit anything in a way that wasn't super jumpy. And so it's like trying to figure out that. And it's like, some of that maybe I still jump around when I cut audio and stuff together, but it's something that I definitely think about because I'm like, all right, I got to make that adjustment. But it's like, through 1,000 small adjustments, I can become completely unrecognizable in 1,000 videos if I make it there. So that's kind of, I guess, my goal in the long run is make it as far as I can and see how much they change. And it's kind of, I guess, like right now, it's a personal project, Yeah, I'm posting these videos publicly. However, I do know that the chance of any YouTube channel taking off is kind of small, but I also know that the chance of a YouTube channel taking off if you have no videos posted is completely zero. But one of the things too with putting out these, it's not really about taking off, it's about getting feedback. Because it's like, I put as many videos as I can out, and then it's like, after the video's been out for about 4 weeks, I can look back at that data and be like, well, nobody's doing anything with any of these. I guess it's not really interesting. Or maybe I don't have real grabby thumbnails or something. And that might be a personal thing, but it's definitely something that I've been thinking about doing. But it's like, you can't have data for things that you're not doing. So I guess that's really what I'm doing right now. I guess I'll give a check in and see what happens in the future because there's going to be updates and stuff, but it's mostly updates for myself right now. So when I watch these back, I can see where I once was and then see where I've improved later, not necessarily tomorrow, but, maybe in a year or two, I can look back and say, all right, making hobby videos has really paid off. I've become what I wanted to be. And I think that to whoever listening, whether it's me in the future or whether it's someone who doesn't know who I am, I think that you too can make progress doing things without the intent of them succeeding. Thanks for watching.